adoption in the Western sense is not the same as adoption in the times of the Arabs before the rulings came down forbidding counting them as your own. In the Western sense, fostering is to look after a child that is known is not yours. And therefore, if that child is above the age of puberty, fostering here is not breastfeeding, by the way. All right. When I use the term foster mother, in the sense of these ahadith, I am referring to the mother or the woman who breastfed. Fostering in the Western sense is just a woman or a man who look after a child that is given to them through social services, through the council or through local government, that have children upon their register, and they need parents to look after them or families to look after them. So that is called a foster family. And what they mean is not that the foster mother takes that child and breastfeeds. No, she doesn't. What she does is, or what they do is, the husband and family and the wife, is that they take the child for a limited period of time, a month, a year, maybe longer, and they look after the child up until that child either returns back to the original family home or is put up for adoption. So therefore, the rulings that apply, if there is a Muslim family that does that, then all of the rulings of Islam apply. That child is not their own, and that child is not given the rights of inheritance, nor is that child, if they have reached post-puberty or post-adolescence, whether it be a boy or a girl, then they are not allowed to freely mix, nor are they allowed to be in seclusion. For example, if he was a 17-year-old boy or 15-year-old boy, he's not allowed to be alone with his quote-unquote foster mother in the West, meaning the woman who did not breastfeed him. So he's not allowed to be in seclusion with her. And if it is a girl, 13, 14, 15, 16, she has reached adolescence, she is not allowed to be in seclusion with boys of that family, or with the father, with the man of that household alone, because he is not mahram to her. As for adoption in the Western sense, then adoption in the Western sense is when a child is given or is taken into the family permanently, and he is given the rights of a child as if it is their own child. That child, once they reach puberty, is not considered a mahram to that family or to the females of that family. Not considered a mahram, unless he was adopted below the age of 2 and was given breast milk, 5 sucks of breast milk from the adopting mother. Then he is a mahram to her and to the rest of the children of that woman. And if she is a female baby, then the father, the adoptive father, is likewise a mahram to her, and the uncles, like the hadith of Aflah. If that is not done, let's say for example they adopt that child at the age of 5 or 6 or 7 or even later, and they adopt, then that child is not considered their own. Meaning, it is not considered, even the one below the age of 2 is not considered their own Islamically anyway, even if he was breastfed. It is not considered their own. The father is the father, and the mother is the mother. So, the adoptive or the mother and father that adopt that child permanently, they are not considered to be their mother and father except through fostering, if breast milk was given. If no breast milk was given, then they are not considered their mother nor their father, neither through breast milk nor through lineage, meaning actual parents. And therefore, when that child grows up and they reach adolescence, if it was a boy, he is not a mahram to the mother who raised him, even if she raised him from the age of 3 or younger. He is not mahram to her. She cannot be secluded with him once he reaches the age of adulthood. And likewise, if it was a girl, once she has reached the age of adulthood, then she is not considered to be a relative, meaning a mahram, to the father. Why? Because there is no blood relation. And there is no breast milk relation either. So therefore they are not related. And whether breast milk is given or not given, there are no rights of inheritance at all. The rights of mahram do not extend to inheritance when breast milk is given. Furthermore, so they do not inherit, and nor they don't inherit from the child, and the child does not inherit from the parents. And nor is the lineage given to them. Meaning, it is not said, he is your father, when you know full well he's not the father. It is not said, she is your mother, and you know full well she is not the mother. You've adopted. So the real father and the real mother are other people. So it is not permissible to say, I am the mother of this child. You can say, I am his foster mother, yes. Or I am his mother, min al-rada', that I am his mother through breastfeeding. Or I am his mother through foster care. Or he is my son by adoption. Meaning these Western terms that are used, and we understand them in the Western sense. So there has to be some idafa or some appendage that must be made to the term. So this is my son by fostering. I am his mother through adoption. I am his father because I fostered him. I am his father because I adopted him through the social services or whatever. So, or through the adoption agency. But it cannot be said with jazm, with certainty. Who's his father? I am his father. Haram. You cannot deny the child its lineage. And it is important that the child, that once they reach the age of understanding, that they know their lineage. The Arabs, they used to preserve their lineage. So likewise, barakallahu feekum, you should preserve your lineage. And you should know the names of your fathers, and your grandfathers, and your great-grandfathers, and their forefathers, and where they came from. Just as the Prophet ﷺ, his lineage was preserved, as was Abu Bakr's, as was Umar's, Ali, Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas, and they knew where their lineage would meet. So it is good, and it is something that was done before Islam and after Islam. So the lineage in Islam, unlike Judaism, that they preserve it through the mother. In Islam and through the customs of most of the people of the earth, it is through the father. So the lineage through the father is preserved. So he is Fulan, the son of his father. You don't say he's Fulan, the son of his mother, and that's his surname is his mother's first name. No. His surname is his father's first name. Alright, this is how it is. So, whilst your parents are alive, and whilst your grandparents are alive, and your relatives are alive, you should preserve that lineage, have it penned down, written down, and teach it to your children. Your children should know your name, your father's name, your grandfather's name, his father's name, and likewise your mother's name, her father's name, her father and his father's name, as far back as you can go, and where they came from. What that will do, it will preserve, barakallahu feekum, it would stop marrying the wrong person, for example, that you may end up marrying a mahram. It will protect you from that. And also, it strengthens the blood ties between relatives. So you know who your relatives are, who their children are. If they are suffering, that you can give them sadaqah. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he was asked that should I give sadaqah to my relative, the Prophet ﷺ said, when you give sadaqah, there is for you a reward. When you give sadaqah to a relative, there is two rewards. One is for the sadaqah, and one is for tying the bond of kinship. So this is important, barakallahu feekum. The kuffar, they don't care about this. Or rather, I should say, that the higher echelons of the society of the non-Muslims, they care for themselves. But they would prefer that the people who are lower than them, who they regard to be lower than them in class, don't care. So therefore, sexual relations between boyfriends and girlfriends and so on, these are common amongst the people who the higher echelons consider as lowly. So those people who are in council estates and in deprived areas and in ghettos and so on, they are not really, they're not considered to be well off or high members of society or nobility. Then they want them to carry on just breeding. Sleep with who you want, have children with who you want, don't get married, and so on. Because this pollutes them all. But you find that they themselves, those who regard themselves to be as noble, the lords and the ladies and the duchesses and the countesses and the kings and the queens, they would never do it. Never. And that's why you find when they have royal marriages and marriages within monarchy and within the ladies and the lords and the duchesses and the countesses and so on of this country, that their lineage, they trace it back over 1,000 to 2,000 years. They can trace them back up to, let's say, at least up to the Middle Ages. Right back, they will know that their forefathers fought, for example, in the Wars of the Roses, and they participated in such and such a battle, and their forefathers are related to a family of another house in the United Kingdom, in Britain or in England, to the house of such and such a lord and duchess. Why? Because they do not allow this lineage to be lost. It will always be, even though they commit adultery and fornication and zina, that happens amongst them, yes. But when it comes to marriage, their lineage is preserved. And this is what they attain for. Going right back to the likes of, the Henry VIII and his 6 wives. Why did all of that happen? That they broke with the Catholic Church and they set up the Church of England and the Archbishops of Canterbury. All of this was over the preservation of lineage through the birth of the son of a king. That's what they wanted, because his wife was not giving him a male line so that his lineage would continue. It never happened anyway, in the end, because eventually he went after him. He went to Elizabeth, but the first. But the point of all of this was that they preserved their lineage. But they never had the same concern for who they regard to be the peasants. But amongst the Muslims, and amongst our culture, Islamic culture, and Islamic heritage, and Muslim culture, and the culture of the Arabs, is to preserve the lineage through marriage. Through marriage, the lineage is preserved. And the names are known. And they are memorized by children. So they know their fathers and their forefathers and their uncles and their aunts and who they are and who their children are. And then they pass it on to the next generation. This is what they are trying to take away from society. Society becomes nameless. Who's your father? Don't know. Your mother, well, she was artificially inseminated in a clinic. Where's the lineage? That's why it's forbidden to donate sperm to sperm banks, and women to donate eggs to fertility banks. Impermissible, because lineage is corrupted. Don't know who the father is, don't know who the mother is. So this, making societies filled with illegitimate children is not permissible. Look how Islam preserves even the rights of the foster mother through breastfeeding. You can't marry him. Why not? Because he is the brother, your brother, because you breastfed from the same woman. But that woman is not my mother. It doesn't matter. That woman gave you breast milk on 5 occasions. 5 sucks of the breast of that woman makes you mahram to her. And her children are mahram to you. And you are mahram to them. This is Islam. It does not allow the lineage to be confused or to be corrupted. Because societies, Islamic societies are named. People are known. Lineages are known. In Western society, and the situation is coming to the point where it is irrelevant who your father is, who your mother is, who your brothers are, who your sisters are, who inseminated your mother, and how many men inseminated her. They don't care. Because this society is a society of nameless people. That's what they want. A society to become nameless. And fame is only through notoriety. That you are known only through notoriety. That you do something stupid or silly. So you're the best cake maker on TV. Because you won Bake Off. That's how you become famous. That's how you become named. Right? Or that you are the best dancer. Or you are the one who can sing the best in imitation of someone else who is a more famous singer than you. Or that you stayed in a house with 5 unknown people and you interacted with them for a month through food, sexually and other than that. That's how fame is. Or you killed someone. Or you robbed someone. Or you slept with someone who was famous. Or you committed adultery with a footballer. Or a footballer's wife. That's fame, that's notoriety, that's how you get a name. Otherwise you're unknown. In Islam, barakallahu feekum, the lineages are preserved. You know who you are, and you know who you came from. And the mother who gave birth to you, and the father who gave birth to you, and the forefathers. And when you come into Islam from non-Islam, and you didn't know, find it. Because that's where you come from. If you were not told, find out who it is. Who was my father? Who was my mother? So even if you came from a non-Muslim background, you were a non-Muslim and then you became a Muslim, so you never cared about it before, because this society wants you to be nameless and unknown. Just a number. What are you? I'm a national insurance number. That's all I am. I'm only known through Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, through a tax band. Everything else is irrelevant. Any money that you earn, just blow it on a Friday and Saturday night through getting drunk and wasting it in clubs and wine bars. That's what they want. I'm not saying everyone wants that. I'm not talking about conspiracies. But that's how society is marketed. But those who know, because they preserve their lineage, as I mentioned, those who are slightly higher in the echelons of society, those who regard themselves as nobility, they will not entertain that type of foolishness for themselves, ever. Royalty, monarchy, lords, duchesses, counties, lords, ladies, never. Barons, never. They will preserve what they have through their children, through marriage and relationships and children. And if you ever met one of them, if you meet one of them, watch how they give you their lineage back to the 14th century. They will give it to you. It's only you that they don't want. So when you become Muslim from another religion and you didn't know, find it, ask, preserve it and teach it to your children. Barakallahu feekum wa jazakumullahu khairan walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.